Your hairdo may run out, but you still won't run out of trouble. When trouble comes, it just comes. If you want trouble, you don't have to go out and look for trouble. Trouble will find you. Do you be minding your own business? Somebody come around and it's like, you know what, you always start some trouble. So if you want trouble, trouble will find you. Trouble is smart. Trouble can dial your number. Trouble knows your address. Trouble knows your name and the names of your children. Trouble likes to lie down between a husband and a wife. Many times trouble likes to clock in with you on your job. There's always trouble somewhere around. Trouble doesn't mind getting dressed in his Sunday's best. Trouble doesn't mind walking into the church house. Trouble is a gossiper, and sometimes trouble can fool you and make you think it's your friend, and as soon as it decides the time is right, trouble shows its true color. Yeah, we will, y'all. We see it in the church. They are so happy, they're so blessed, they're so wonderful, but yet and still it will show its true colors one way or another. And we see that if it ain't one thing, it's another. Pay your telephone bill, the next day you get another bill. If it ain't one thing, it's another. You get another bill, it's time for you to pay your long distance calls. There's another problem. You paid the cable bill, but you forgot the water bill is also due. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Ladies, you go to the beautician and you ask her to make your hair a little curly, but she decides to make it straight. Yeah, y'all been there. You tell her just cut a little bit and she cut all your hair off. Scissors happy. Brothers, you decide to try on that suit you haven't worn in a while and discover that the suit waistline is no longer compatible with your waistline. I'm talking to myself. I've been there. I've been there. I love fitted clothes, and I went to H&M one time, and they said, "What size?" I said, "A 32." It wasn't compatible. And Kenny Ray said, "Pastor, you can't get it." No, who was that? The show, one of them said, you always wear them little tight clothes. I said, I can fit this stuff. And I went into the restaurant, I said, watch, when I come out, I told you it's gonna fit. I went, I couldn't even get one leg in the pants leg. I said, something wrong, the clothes done shrunk or something. It wasn't compatible with my waistline anymore. If it ain't one thing, it's another. If it ain't a backache, it's a headache. If it ain't a headache, it's a toothache. If it ain't a toothache, it's a sinus trouble. If it ain't sinus trouble, it's arthritis. The list goes on and on. If it ain't one thing, it's another. So we look in our text, I'm going to be done in a few seconds. Job was a man who actually lived on this earth. He was not a mythical character. He was a man of great devotion to God. He was also a very rich man. He was a man who tried his best to avoid evil. Job was a family man. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He had land and cattle and servants. Job had everything a man could ever want. He was successful, but he didn't let his success go to his head. He knew that whatever he had and whatever he achieved was only because of God's grace and mercy. So one day my Bible says in heaven, the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Satan also came along. Do you think that when we come to church, the devil is nowhere around? Come on. He doesn't mind coming to church. He'll probably tell if he had a chance that some of his best evil plans begin in the church. I'll tell you where it starts, in the choir stand. The devil was the head person of the music ministry. And every time the music ministry get ready for some mess, I always start. I want to wear my good hat. I don't want to wear no overlay. I want to wear my good suit to church. But yet and still there's trouble. If it one ain't one thing, it's another. He doesn't mind you singing in the choir, as long as you don't believe what you're singing about. He doesn't mind you shouting in the church, as long as that shout is just like a sounding brass and a twinkling cymbal, signifying nothing. The thing that really bothers him is when you know that you get down on your knees and start talking to God about your troubles. That's when he gets upset with you. God asked Satan, have you considered my servant Job? And the devil responded, ain't no use me fooling with him, seeing as though you built a fence around him. But if you just remove the fence and let me have at him, I think we'll see a horse of a different color. God gave his permission, and with the same limitation included, and the devil got started in doing what he does best, tormenting the children of God. And let me put a period right there, a comma right there, to let you know that sometimes God will give the devil permission to do something to you. He says you can do whatever you want to him, but don't touch his soul. So he had a chance to test him. So we find out in that text, he says this: while one man gave Job some bad news, another man came with a sad report. And while he was speaking, here comes another and another. Look what the devil had in store for Job. He took away his cattle. That was his means for food. He took away his sheep. That was his means for clothing. He took away his camels. That was his means of transportation. But much worse, he took away his children. That was a gift from God. But through it all, we know that Job couldn't help but to praise God. This tells us something, doesn't it? Tells us something. Sometimes our faith can and will challenge one trial after another. And sometimes trouble comes in doubles and sometimes even triples. And we have trouble in our homes, trouble on our jobs, trouble with our children. And with ones we married, there's even trouble, believe it or not. Trouble is in the church. If we look at the story of Job, it's sad. Job lost everything. Celestial, don't let people think that the Lord is not here. Just because it's 7 people, just because it's 10 people, don't let people think the Lord is not here. Because it's not about the number of people. It's about who you have, the faithful few that you have. I had to learn a long time ago that it's not about the number. People always look at numbers and say, well, anybody joining your church, you must not be doing something right now. It ain't time for them to come to the church. Because everybody's not meant to be at the safe haven. Everybody don't want to be safe. Everybody not meant to, Pastor Foster, to be at the safe haven. God would say, I will add to my church daily as I see fit. Not as man see fit. But then we notice he lost everything. 10 caskets of children stretched out across the altar. His so-called friends hanging his name out on the highway. His wife helping the devil to convince him into cursing God and die. But look at Job. He decided to hold on to God's unchanging hand. And with an example of faith, this is an example of faith. When you go through something, tragedy after tragedy, just hold on to God's unchanging hand. The song said, time is filled with swift transitions. But look, what an example of faith he had. No matter what happened to us, no matter what the devil has in store, we need to have faith of Job today. With war clouds floating over America, they talk on weapons of mass destruction, chemical warfare and such. We need to hold on to God's unchanging hand. The story of Job ends up with some good news. It tells that God restored Job even beyond what he could ever expected. If you need restoring, you ought to try the Lord. Next time trouble comes, and it will come, get on your knees and pray to God. Next time you feel like shouting out, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Take time out to come to the Lord and tell him all about your troubles. The song says, I once was lost in sin, but Jesus took me in. And the little light from heaven filled my soul. They had a little talk with Jesus. And I told Jesus all about my troubles. He heard my faintest cry. And he answered by and by. There's nothing he can't handle. Whatever you're going through, God can handle the situation. The song said Jesus can work it out. Job was sick so long. Heartache and pain, God wouldn't heal that. The song said he may not come when you want him. But he's always on time. God, I'm about to foreclose on my house, but he stepped in the nick of time. Lord, I don't know how to pay my bills, but he stepped in the nick of time. Have you ever tried him before? Have you ever found out that he's a way maker? Have you ever known he's a heavy load sharer? Have you ever known he's a heart fixer? A mind regulator? Just like the woman in Scripture, she had trouble after trouble. But she said, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, then I'll be made whole. It's one thing to be healed, but it's another to be made whole. Just trust in Jesus. Try God. If it ain't one thing, it's another. So let's say, have y'all been here 28 years, Pastor? 28 years. 8 is a new beginning. It's time for a new beginning. Pastor Paul said, it's your season for the new beginning. It's your season for a new beginning. Walk in your season. It's your season for grace and favor. It had already started. The choir got new choir robes. It's your season. Walk in your season. 28 years. The Lord will never leave you nor forsake you. If he did it back then, he'll do it today. 28 years. It's not about the numbers. It's not about who comes and who don't come. It's not about who stays and who don't stay. But those that show up. Say that. God is looking for those. The faithful ones. That's it, right? I tell one of my deacons all the time, I don't go to church and worry about who comes to church. If they come, I'm glad to see them. If they don't come, there's some old folks still at the church. People always say all the time, Pastor, your whole church is a choir stand. Yes, it is. They're on the usher board, they deacons, deaconesses. They do it all. Everybody got a Sunday. You gonna sing this week, you gonna usher this week. Use what you got. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I learned from Pastor Foster that I drive a church bus too. Play the organ sometimes too. Church still goes on. It still rolls on. Jesse, you on there sport? Go get on the drum set. We need some drum beats. Multitask. If it ain't one thing, it's another. But hold on, Celestial. Let people talk. Your haters are your elevators. And sometimes